Welcome back. You're watching Morning Live. Thank you for choosing to stay with us. Now, Transnet is in the process of expanding railways, pipelines and ports in Africa. They are currently in the fourth year of a 7-year plan and expecting to grow further. This is according to Acting Chief Executive Siyabonga Gama, who joins me now. Sir, thank you very much for joining us here on Morning Live.
Thank you very much, Sam, for having me.
We're almost halfway through that 7-year plan. Let's talk about the change from freight that's going from roads onto trains. And I think that's a very important discussion.
Yeah, that's a very important discussion because the South African public has been burdened by the amount of trucks that are on our roads. So we embarked on a process in the last 4 years or so to make sure that we can begin to shift freight from the road to rail. And I think it's been very successful. We are gaining a good market share there, especially on the corridor between Durban and Johannesburg. But this is amidst growing, GDP, transportable GDP. So we're making some very good progress. We've been seeing growth rates of anything between 12 to 30% per annum on that particular corridor. But in the past, I think we had been hampered quite a bit in terms of the availability of rolling stock. So we have now bought new wagons, we've brought in new locomotives. We have an order of another 1,064 locomotives, which will be deployed in our general freight corridors, which will assist us greatly in terms of the move of freight from the road into the railway and then clearing the roads so that the public can have freer roads and less trucks.
And that's the benefit for the ordinary commuter, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely. But also, I mean, if the goods move to the trains, you decongest. But also, if you look at carbon emissions, you can reduce that as well, and our carbon footprint can then be strengthened as a result of that.
Let's talk about just the growth in rail volumes. You've talked about the purchasing and acquiring of new wagons, but we're seeing a beautiful and steady growth.
Yeah, I think our counter-cyclical strategy to continue to invest is beginning to bear fruit. And I think we are firing on all cylinders because we are able to grow even though the GDP of the country is not really where it ought to be. And I think we're making very good progress. So the whole notion of the investments that we've made are beginning to pay.
Highlight some of those investments for me.
We have made quite a number of investments in the infrastructure first and foremost because we had a historical underinvestment in infrastructure. We've done quite a lot of the maintenance that was in backlog mode. We're bringing everything now into what we call planned maintenance. So where 80% is done according to plan and only 20% is reactive, which is very good because it assists us in terms of some of the efficiency drives that are required. We've built new rolling stock. We have got new wagons. We've got new locomotives that we've brought in, but also we've begun to replace some of the old railway sleepers that we used to have. We're electrifying some of the lines, we're dealing with some of the turnouts, and also the rail track is being replaced and with new ones. So we're making the railways much more efficient, much more reliable. But also I think to the customer what is most important is to know that the train is going to be on time because it's a reliable train and it's a network system and the whole system works.
There's a couple of things that maybe a lot of people don't know. Transnet does a lot of work from a medical perspective at a community level. You're also involved in training.
Yeah.
Talk to me about those projects.
Yeah, we have 2 Pello Pepper trains, which is really a medical train that goes into the remote areas, especially in the rural areas. In the past year, I think we've spent about 250 million rand running that train, reaching out to communities who would otherwise not have the kind of access to those facilities. People queue for these trains, I tell you, from 4 a.m. in the morning. To start receiving services from 7 o'clock. And the doctors and the nursing and health staff that are on there, they do a fantastic job. They work throughout the day and sometimes late into the night.
Weekends as well.
Yeah, and weekends. So they do fantastic work, to assist in terms of ameliorating the health system in this country, because there's certain areas where, they don't even have clinics, and our train can go in there, park there, and we do anything from dental to optical care. And even just checking high blood pressure and all of those types of diseases that people might have. But I think our people do a fantastic job there. On the training front, we've spent 644 million in the past financial year, training artisans, engineering, new engineers that we're taking through universities. We're taking through about 355 this year. And as well as sector-specific training, more than 3,300 people that are going through various training programs. And really that is to build capacity in the economy, especially in industrial skills that we will require to create the kinds of skills that are going to assist South Africa to industrialize further.
One of the other things that a lot of people might not know is that Transnet is not subsidized by government at all. And I see a headline, Transnet beats the odds. It must make you smile, because the media is also seeming to understand kind of the hard work that is going into turning Transnet fiscally sound.
Yeah. Transnet does not get any government guarantees even on its borrowings. I think government has been quite clear to say Transnet needs to be able to stand alone. It needs to be profitable. It needs to be able to do all of the developmental work that a state-owned entity is required to do, but make sure that it is commercially viable. So I think we are very happy that the value proposition that we offer continues to be valid, and we continue to look for ways and means to make sure that the Transnet brand within the country continues, to make the kind of value that is required to be delivered by it.
So we're going to leave it there, but thank you very much for joining us this morning and talking to us. It's the Acting Chief Executive, Siyabonga Gama, talking to us about Transnet and just the success story behind this government parastatal. Okay, we take an ad break. You don't get anywhere. And I'd actually